This is CBB Today, and we are back with another video. In this video, we're going to be going over the new AP poll. We're going to talk about who went up, who went down, the teams that lost, some teams that picked up some big wins, and what I agree with. If you like these types of video, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. It takes 2 seconds, and it helps the channel a lot. Without further ado, we'll hop into the number one team in the country. The number one team in the country is still the Arizona Wildcats, and I feel like I've been saying this for almost 2 months now, but I probably have been. They look very, very, very good. They are number one in KenPom. They are number one in net, and obviously number one in the AP poll. They played West Virginia on Saturday. Braden Burries had 22 points, 7 assists. They won by 35. And then during the week, they beat Cincinnati by 26. A little bit of a close game in the first half, but Arizona pulled away in the second half. Tonight is the game I've been so excited for the better part of a month. They travel to BYU. They face off against AJ DeBansta, Rob Wright, Richie Saunders. This game, I think, is a toss-up. I think if Arizona plays their game and slows BYU down a bit, I think Arizona will be just fine, but you got to stop DeBansta. We all know that. This game will be a lot of fun. I'm very excited for it. I hope you guys are excited for it. Let me know who you guys think is going to win that. It's at 9 p.m. Eastern tonight. So, yeah, Arizona, they're 20-0. Like I said, number one in the AP, number one in net, and number one in KenPom. If they win, that'll obviously stay the same, and even if they lose, they might stay at number one. So, with that being said, we will move on to the number two team in the country. At number two, we have the UConn Huskies for the second week in a row, and look, they only played one game this week. They played Villanova, that was in Hartford, and they went to overtime with Villanova. They were favored by 11.5 points in that game. They ended up winning. They won 75-67. Solo Ball had arguably his best game of the season. He had 24 points. Look, during the week, I said I think UConn's a little overrated. I think they will be just fine come March, but I think as of right now, they are not the second best team in the country. I think they're more like the fourth or fifth, in my opinion. But look, it's going to be hard to tell, and it's going to be hard to judge them. Their next two games are home against Providence. They'll probably be favored by 15 in that. At Creighton, that'll be one of the tougher games they have remaining, and that's kind of what I mean. It's going to be tough to judge when one of your tougher games are against a Creighton team that doesn't really even have a chance to make it as an at-large team in the tournament. So, look, as long as they keep winning, they'll stay in the top three. If Arizona loses, maybe they'll move up to one. But yeah, I think, I think they'll win their next 3 games. They play at St. John's on February 6th. That will be a good game. That's at the Garden. Yeah, I'm excited to see how many UConn fans show up to that. I think I might be in attendance for that, so we'll see what happens. I think UConn is going to win out in the Big East. That's what I think. I could be wrong. They might, they could fall apart a bit. We'll see. Only time will tell. But yeah, UConn, they're 19-1, and nothing much more to say about them. We will move on to number 3. The number 3 team in the country is the Michigan Wolverines, and I love talking about Michigan because they are one of the most polarizing teams in the country, and I mean that in the sense of they started off the year a little rough, and then they looked like the best team in the country, and then they lost to Wisconsin at home. So they're very, you don't know really what you're getting out of them. I think in mid-December, end of December, early January, I think a lot of people thought Michigan was just going to run away with the whole season and win it all and be this inevitable force, 40-0. Clearly that's not the case. They looked beatable out west. They looked good, better this week, but, still played a tight game against an Ohio State team. They have a big test this week. They have Nebraska in Ann Arbor on Tuesday and then at Michigan State on Friday. So that will be a big gut check for Dusty May, Elliot Cadeau, all those guys. I'm very excited. I think they're going to win both those games. Let me know who you guys think are going to win those games. I just, if that game's at Nebraska, I think Nebraska would have a way better chance, but they're literally double-digit underdogs, which is just insane. I think Vegas just gives a lot of respect towards Michigan for what they did previously this year. So, yeah, we'll see how that goes. Michigan at 3 is fine. I honestly would like to see them at 2 or a different team at 2 that we'll talk about. But, yeah, we'll move on to number 4. And at number 4, we have the Duke Blue Devils. And Duke, I'm not going to lie, I have given them a lot of crap this year. I've said I thought they were a little overrated. I didn't think they were that good. I was very worried about their guard play. I'll admit, Duke, I think that was the team I said I wouldn't mind if they were ranked 2. I think Duke is very good. I still, I still, in my eye test and opinion, have Michigan and Arizona in a tier of their own. But Duke is right there. And I think Duke's better than UConn. I think those top four teams in the country right now, Arizona, Michigan, UConn, Duke, are going to be the 4-1 seeds come March. I can't really see it not being like that. I think Duke, like, obviously Duke and Michigan play each other on February 21st in Washington, D.C., but, like, Duke's going to lose another couple games all year. They're probably, like, I don't know. They play Louisville tonight at Cameron Indoor. They're 8.5-point favorites. I think they're going to roll. I mean, obviously, Mikel Brown Jr. is back for Louisville, but still. I like Duke in that. Duke's impressed me. I got to give them their flowers. As much as I don't like Duke, like, I got to give them their flowers. They're good. Cameron Boozer's obviously great, but I'm more impressed about the other pieces around him. So, Duke's at number 4. And, yeah, we'll move on to number 5. And at number 5, I never thought I'd be saying this. We have Nebraska, which is crazy, right? That is just insane. Insane. They're 20-0. I mean, I just can't believe it. They did in the preseason win an exhibition against BYU, which could have been a little indicator that they were a little better than people thought. But look, it's not like they're just beating up on terrible teams. Like, you're winning games on the road in conference that, like, aren't, like, we've said it so many times, it's hard to win on the road in college basketball, especially in conference. And you're going to Minnesota, and that was a gut check. You were losing in that second half. You were losing at halftime. At Northwestern, you're only 5-point favorites there. At Indiana and at Ohio State, you're underdogs, and you're winning. Look, 3 of your next 4 games are against top 11 teams. Okay, that will be tough. You have at Michigan tomorrow. Then you have versus Illinois. That'll be in Omaha. Or not Omaha, Lincoln. Sorry, Nebraska fans. And then at Rutgers is a little nice because you'll probably just kill them. But then you have Purdue. So, I don't know. I think they're going to beat. I think they're going to win. I think they'll beat. I don't know. I don't want to make any predictions because I don't want people to come back to me with receipts. But look, Nebraska, they're very, very good. They are very good. They're legit. They could play their way into a 1 seed. Easily. I don't think they will, but they have the schedule to do so. And that's what's great about playing in the Big Ten. I think right now they're firmly on the 2 line, and no one will argue that. So, yeah, Nebraska, their fans should be very excited. I hope their players are excited. You're a top 5 team in the country. So, congratulations, and we will move on to number 6. At number 6, we have Gonzaga, and I say this every week, but it's, they're always just going to hang out around the 6 to 10 number, right? Like, I swear every week they've been like 7, 8, 9. It's just, that's the way it goes, right? When you play in the West Coast Conference. They beat San Francisco by 2 points. That game was in Spokane. Like, you probably want to win that game by more. You probably don't want to be in that close of a game. They killed Pepperdine. Look, I think I see maybe one or 2 losses left on their schedule prior to the West Coast Conference tournament. So, as long as they take care of business, as long as they don't lose any, like, bad games, they'll be the 2 seed out West, which is all they want. That's what Mark Few wants. That's what the players want. They don't really, I doubt they care if they're ranked in the top 5 in the AP poll, right? They'd rather play their way into where they want to be in March Madness. So, Gonzaga's at 6, and we will move on to number 7. At number 7, we have a team that's been climbing up the ranks a little bit the past few weeks. We have the Michigan State Spartans led by Tom Izzo. Now, Michigan State, I'm not going to lie, I was wrong about them. Before the year, I thought they would end up being maybe an 8 or 9 seed. I didn't love their team because they lost a lot of production. They're good. Like, they're good, and their defense is very good. Their front court is very good. I'm obviously still a little skeptical about their offense come March. I don't know how much I'm going to be able to trust them, but look, they're right where they want to be, and they play enough. Like, they still have Michigan twice. They have Illinois, Purdue, at Wisconsin, UCLA. Like, they have games where they can play their way up the seed lines, right? So, I think they'll end up being a 3 seed. I'll make that prediction. They'll end up being a 3 seed, and that's fine. I'm very impressed with Michigan State. Jeremy Fears is great. Obviously, Jackson Kohler's taken such a big step. So, yeah, Michigan State's at 7. We'll move on to number 8. And at number 8, we have the Iowa State Cyclones, and they took care of business this week. They destroyed UCF. They beat them by 30. UCF's going to be a tournament team. Like, that's a good win. And then you go to Oklahoma State and you win by 13. They're 18-2. Obviously, we all saw they suffered those 2 losses. I think a lot of people got really scared that we were going to have a repeat of last year where they got up to number 2 in the country and then just fell apart. That was a big gut check. Big gut check. You lose those 2 games, people think you're about to spiral out, and then you bounce back. They have Colorado, Kansas State, Baylor, TCU coming up. You got to win all 4 of those because their goal is still to be a 1 seed. They still know they can play their way into a 1 seed. You got to win the games you're supposed to win. And then they have a 3-game stretch after that versus Kansas, versus Houston, at BYU. Win 2 of those 3 games, and you're in business. You're in business. You still have at Arizona versus Texas Tech. So you're going to have a lot of opportunities to get those big, big wins. I think they still have their eyes on the prize. So Iowa State is at 8. I don't really have any complaints about it. I like this Iowa State team a lot. I love Momcilovic and Jefferson. Killian Torrey is one of my most underrated players in the country. So, yeah, Iowa State's at 8, and we will move on to number 9. At number 9, we have one of my final 4 picks from before the year. Keaton Wagler and the Illinois Fighting Illini. Now, I honestly couldn't believe what I saw the other day. I could not, I was in awe watching that game. Now, we all knew Keaton Wagler was really, really good. Really, really good. We watched him all this year. Kylan Boswell goes out with a hand injury. He'll be out about a month. Keaton Wagler says, all right, we're good. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. They go to Mackey. Keaton Wagler has 46 points, an efficient 46. His true shooting percentage was 101%. It's unheard of. It is unheard of. Brad Underwood found a stud. Look, the kid's going to be a lottery pick. You better, Illinois fans, enjoy it for these next couple months because that kid's a lottery pick. He's gone. I'm still very high on this Illinois team. I think they're meshing really well as the season goes on. And yeah, they're going to have the opportunity to play their way into a top 2 seed. So we'll see what happens with that, and we'll move on to the number 10 team in the country. At number 10, we have the Houston Cougars, and this was another one of my final 4 picks before the year. So they only played once this week. They played at Texas Tech. They lost a close one. Kingston Flemings had 42 points. That was unreal. The freshman scoring performances from Saturday was just out of this world. It's actually insane what this freshman class is doing, but we'll talk about that another time. I said it last week. You lose to Texas Tech at Texas Tech, no one's really going to care. You want to win that game, but it's Texas Tech's really, really, really good. They're really good. You play at TCU, win that game, win your next couple games against Cincinnati and UCF, and you're right back on track. So I'm not worried about Houston. I still think they're a top 5 team in the country. I'm just so high on Fleming, Sharp. I think Senak's getting better and better as the season goes on. And then Tugler just manning it down low. And Kelvin Sampson is one of the greatest coaches in the sport. So I'm not worried about Houston. Yeah, they dropped from 6 to 10, but I wouldn't worry about it too much if I'm a Houston Cougars fan. So yeah, that'll round out the top 10. That'll wrap up this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. We're going to have new reactions to the AP poll every single Monday. We have recaps, previews, analysis coming during the week, shorts. Check out the TikTok, the Twitter, CBB Today on both. This video was a lot of fun. There was a lot of shakeup. Very, very fun Saturday in college basketball we had. We have a very, very fun slate tonight and a Super Tuesday tomorrow. So let me know who you guys like in those games. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button so you don't miss any new videos. We're going to have tons of content coming out before March Madness. And then once March Madness comes, we're going to have a lot of these types of videos and then some in-person content because we're definitely going to make it out to some of those games. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys next time. CBB Today, peace.